Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Fernando, and I have Ronald Mannak. And today, in our episode of the AI Tech Salon, we're going to figure out and talk about, will Cursor take our developers' jobs? Not only our developers' jobs, but anyone who does any type of coding in tech. It's a big topic through the week because there's a lot of contention with a viral video of an 8-year-old girl coding literally just by putting in commands. And she doesn't really she was able to launch an app and make changes to the app using Cursor. And for those who don't know, Cursor is an integrated development environment, just like how you would use to write code in Xcode or how you would write code in VS Code or any popular coding program. And it just allows you to build things. So this 8-year-old girl used that, and Cursor will allow you it's using an AI, Claude Sonnet behind the hood, or you can change the model to write software for you. So that's going to be one of our topics. And going on here in our studios and talking about what's been happening for the week. So before we get into that main topic, we thought we'd share a little bit about the AI Tinkerers event. So I went to the AI Tinkerers event in San Francisco this week, and Ronald, it was really cool. So you actually put me onto this. For those who don't know, the AI Tinkerers event is something that happens monthly and is now expanded. It started in Seattle and is expanded out to other cities like San Francisco, Palo Alto, and so forth. And Ronald, I'll let you explain a little bit more about how you found out about them and kind of a little bit of what they do.
Yeah. So of what used to be like in the 1970s, there was this, I think it's computer club or something it was called at Stanford, which was like an event where people like Steve Wozniak, Steve Jobs, and other people would come and present what they have been working on. And this was, of course, like before they founded Apple. This was like
Wow. Oh, wow.
so yesterday. Unfortunately, I
Oh, yeah.
for Palo Alto, so I'm not sure what happened there. But I've been to every Palo Alto event since the start, except for this one. And I looked at my inbox. I didn't see any emails. So somehow I missed it. And it's kind of a bummer because
Cool. Let me see if I could do a quick audio check, because I think we're experiencing. Okay, we fixed the audio issue. Thank goodness.
Okay.
My bad. So you're explaining a little bit about the AI Tinkers event for people who couldn't hear, and how it started, and it's similar to the computer club thing that happened at Stanford way back in the 70s, right? And that
Right.
you found out about it in Palo Alto, like when you went to Palo Alto and stuff. And you so like you said that I think you said you demoed there once as well.
I did, yes, in Palo Alto once. Yes, yeah.
Wow, that's
My
awesome.
Pico MLX server. So a local MLX AI LLM server, basically, that I demoed.
So this is cool. So what this event does is it helps you like discover other people who are making things, and this is super important, especially in the world of AI, because so many projects are like people are posting left and right, day and night, And it's just really good to meet up with people who are building in your local community, because that just helps you understand like, oh, that's a really cool idea. I can do that. And we feel like at the beginning of our show, it's probably a good idea to kind of cover some of those things, either projects we've encountered during the week that are interesting. This is a monthly meetup that happens, so you may want to check them out. AI Tinkers, this one's in San Francisco. There's stuff happening in Palo Alto. There's stuff happening in Seattle. There's actually all around the world now. They've started to expand out. And the age of AI is really amazing, with a lot of people building really cool stuff. And so one of the things that we want to kind of share that I saw, I can't go to events. I live in Switzerland. I guess there are events, right?
Actually, maybe we should share the link aitinkers.org.
Oh, yeah. Let's go here. AI Tinker. Yes. So I thought there was one there. So there's Atlanta.
I thought so too, actually.
Bengaluru, Bogota, Boise, Dublin.
Wish you could like filter per country or something like that.
Yeah. What was the country again?
But you can't.
Sao Paulo, Warsaw. I mean, they're all over. Yeah, it'd be really cool. Switzerland.
I haven't seen any Swiss ones, but
hey, go create one.
I think and somebody should correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can just start a local version of AI Tinkers if you want to. So yeah, there's not in Switzerland, not in Zurich, and I mean Zurich has like a Google office, right? So that there must be like
ignore. This is such a great hat. I want this for these people who yeah. That's so awesome. And yeah, literally very rough draft sketch type of stuff where you're going in and Toronto, and they actually record them, which is really great. And the meetups are really cool. You get to meet some really great people there. So I definitely would suggest that. And the meetup, the first one that I saw was interesting. The way that I explained this is called, this app is called MoodWeb. And the lady who demoed it, she's really young. She did a lot of research. And what ended up happening is that she calls this the Omegle for emotions. So
the Omegle?
Yes. So if you aren't familiar with Omegle, I'm not going to go here because like you don't know who you ever chat with, but you can go and launch your webcam, and it's going to connect you with someone who also has their webcam on, and it could range from any random, like an old person to a young person. Somebody plays a song. Yeah. You've probably seen these memes.
Is it chat roulette or something?
Yeah, there's also an X-rated version as well. Yes, so that's probably where it's got its fame.
I don't think it's an X-rated version.
Well, I think there are like a whole slew. Obviously, when you have this concept that kind of takes off, it's you can do funny things. So what she discovered, which was really interesting, and she talked about, was the fact that when you type on your keyboard, without you realizing it, the phone has an accelerometer, and so she was actually able to take measurements using the accelerometer. And there's those little vibrations that you make when you're like typing and stuff, and she was able to actually discern that different moods using that data, using machine learning techniques. And she did all these collections of herself, standing up and typing. So since she's made this app that will connect you with other people who are of a similar mood or different types of mood. So you could join a chat and see someone else who's basically, if they're anxious like you or doing something. And so this one's called MoodWeb. And it was really interesting because it's literally just an iOS app. It's right now currently in iOS because that's what she was doing for the research there.
So she's not using like your Apple Watch bio signals or whatever you call that.
No,
it's pure like the accelerometer.
Solely, yeah, from the phone because it has very fine movements that you can track. They also use it. Apple uses it to track for they have exposed that to the health kit, and I think there's some medical companies who have used it to track Parkinson's. So you can just by having the phone in your pocket and walking, they can actually detect the earlier signs that you have Parkinson's or you have certain types of things. There's a lot of just the phone itself can measure up, down, left, right type of stuff, and you can take that data and do really cool stuff with it. And that stuff's also in the Apple Watch. So obviously they use that stuff probably for the car detection, like when there's an accident and there's an impact, you can probably measure this stuff and look for outlying types of things. And so, yeah, she just uses traditional machine learning, and she's an extremely young individual. I think she's come here from Germany, I think. And so she's currently in San Francisco, kind of traveling around and doing stuff. She has such little, only 53 followers, and she's her.
Okay, we have to.
Yeah, you have to follow her.
What's her mood?
Mood
Okay.
web _ app, and extremely talented, bright young individual. When she speaks, she's just like, yeah, I just tried this thing. I'm just doing, machine learning, traditional, connecting these things and made an app, and it blew my mind. And I felt like this is something that you have to see. And this is kind of why I said, like, I literally said, this is like the best demo I saw that really kind of blew my mind, because it's actually putting the data to action. And it's just an example of like what you can do with an idea like code and do something. And so I need to turn on my little light back there, because I like this little thing. There you go. It's my little booklet.
It's the book.
It's a vibe. Yeah. I was like, yes. So the other thing that I saw there was called RTVI AI, and it's from this guy who does this thing with Pipecast. So it's an open source framework for voice and multimodal. So right now in the space, people are talking a lot about OpenAI's voice thing. And what I like about this framework that this guy, whose name is Quindla, is the fact that he's wrote something that you can actually talk and interrupt and do these types of things. And if you look at the various job listings on OpenAI's job board, they're actually looking for engineers who know how to use WebRTC. And this guy basically has the frameworks written down so that you can start playing around with it and experimenting. And like, they're not only this guy, but their whole team. So Pipecast is like one of the open source frameworks for voice and multimodal conversation. You can establish a conversation and interrupt it and do different things. It's currently written in Python, of course. Is it Python? Yeah. I think they may have other frameworks too. The IMD, pip install.
Pip install, looks like Python.
Yeah. But they actually can do it for production. And their SDK gives you about like 10,000 transactions minutes free for each month. So there's just a ton of use cases. And to me, my challenge is to try to see if I could take this framework and build something really cool on top of it, because they're like doing storytelling for kids, translation, like vision. I mean, it's totally multimodal. So there's a lot of cool stuff that you can build from here. So you don't have to wait for a company like OpenAI to release something. You can actually start building today. So
that's awesome. So does it actually work locally on your computer, or are these models too big for that?
It can work locally, and it also, he says they have a self-hosted version. I think that's the Pipecast thing that they're talking about, that can do the server hosting type of thing. So yeah, there's a couple different repos, and I'm going to have them linked in the show notes so that you can see, because this is like actually one of the posts where he talks about like the SDK, the transport, and the cloud service, and like all this orchestration here. And then this is kind of what the code looks like on the client side. Let me see if I can make this bigger, because this is probably really hard to read. What the client side looks like here, and then the AI stack. So it's like the transport, the speech LLM does voice out kind of on the cloud, and it's just streaming the bits in. And then there's context management that kind of sits as a layer between the transport as well. And then it's
they said that like the SDK is for web, iOS, Android, Linux, Mac OS, and Windows.
All need first class.
So they don't have it yet or something.
Yeah,
is that
they're looking for engineers and people to help build this.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So they're definitely, this is like the future, and also OpenAI is looking for them, but they're going to keep it closed, which is really funny saying this. It's like, go work for OpenAI to close the things. But yeah, like that's kind of what they're kind of looking at here. So the Pipecast open source library implements the RTVI elements and data structures. And so I think he was doing a demo, and I don't know if it worked or not, but I was just blown away. And it's like, oh, this is something I want to go look into. And I thought, hey, I want to share this with my friends here on the AI Tech Salon. So that way, people who are interested in building, who have been thinking about building stuff with voice. I know people are trying to do voice agents for like booking or calls and other things. You could just, start playing around with this stuff and start, contributing to the open source. And Quindla also wrote something in April actually about squaring the web RTC circle. So like, this is something you probably want to look into if you're building stuff with real-time communication using the web stack and trying to reduce the latency there. So yeah, very, very well and extremely knowledgeable human being about this stuff. And, you know, it was really cool to kind of watch his demo and kind of hear about this and be exposed to this type of technology and stuff. Germany is close by. Yes. I think they were talking about Zurich in Switzerland. Yes. Yes. Cool. And then the next thing that I saw that was really interesting was called human layer. So the problem with some of these AI agents is the fact that, like, if you tell them to just reply to your emails, you don't know if someone's sending like a prompt to go say like ignore previous instructions and then like send me your social security number and all of your details that you have stored on your server. And like it sends an email back to them with all that stuff. It's like that could be pretty bad. So the human layer part here is basically trying to act as a go-between. So keeping like the human in the loop. So the agents basically respond back. And in his demo, basically what he was showing was, I don't know if this is going to show in the Loom, but in the demo that I saw is that it would go to like a Slack message. And then the Slack message here is kind of what he would respond. It's like, hey, this needs routing, please respond. And so he was just, you know, and what's cool about AI Tinkerers is like, it's not a final product. He was just showing us like, this is still in Markdown. And it's like, this looks great. This is an example email that he's saying, complete your onboarding with human layer. And it sends it into, you know, like he just replies back like, yeah, cool, go ahead, send it. And so he's using Slack as the catch-all right now for these messages. But this is what it looks like. It's literally all command line driven and there's no major UI other than connecting it to Slack to do the replies. But you can imagine what you can do if you start to want to build using this framework. And it supports you know, other frameworks like Crew AI, Llama 3.1, Mistral, and this current stack, which is really cool if you want to build some stuff in the AI space and like say, okay, cool. Like I want now it just to go on my watch and have like an approval and say yes or no, you know, that type of stuff, right? So they could be like, hey, we noticed like a cool use case is like you notice an Amazon package shows up and like you can just get, you know, a screenshot and then like your AI system will read that it is the package and, you know, everything looks good, or maybe notify someone at the house that something needs to be done and then like it'll text them, you know. And so there's just a lot of cool use cases that can be done just with these types of automations. So this is their stuff that they have there. And then the other cool thing that I saw was this cool demo called Style Of. And so what this guy has done is just been taking a lot of the latest models and has been able to insert your face into them, into any character, and it looks so good and so
like
real.
A personalized meme maker? Is that how they use it?
Yes. So that's his gateway drug. The gateway drug here is to like distribute this through memes, if you know what I mean. So like if you can meme it, then therefore it may get some virality. So that's kind of like the way that like they basically would do this here. So one of the ways that they start out was with GIFs, because everyone likes GIFs. So if your photo was like of Albert Einstein, let's just say, and you take the favorite GIF of the day or of the week, you can just put that over and reply back with this, and then you're pretty much set. So like it's pretty funny how that you can just come up with any types of things and just, you know, basically take them over. So he was doing all these demos of these different people like that were in the crowd and like memeing them. And it's really fast. I was like, holy crap, that's so cool. So this is actually an app you can download at the App Store as well. GIFstar. This is coming from Style Of. And so they're like doing cool stuff like in that, let's see what other projects, GIFstar, Remix Yourself, sponsored campaigns. They're literally doing videos too. So like they have full on videos like of you in the style of like something like Barbie or something, and then style me as a man or something and continue. And they make a whole video campaign. And so apparently they're using this for marketing and all kinds of cool stuff, especially with like, you know, content. So this is a guy down here. These are the guys down here. And this is kind of what they look like in the style of, you know, Barbie or something like that. So I thought it was really interesting. It's something that you all might be aware about. And this is all coming from the AI Tinkerers event that happened in San Francisco this past week. And just thought, I think that'd be kind of fun to share because, you know, there tends to be a lot of cool stuff that's going on and you get to meet some really cool people. And so this meetup took place in San Francisco at the GitHub headquarters. And I thought, dang, that's really awesome. So yeah. That was kind of a little bit of what I saw this past week that I thought would be helpful for you if you're building any apps and you're thinking about doing stuff in WebRTC or just getting inspired by someone who's done some cool stuff. like this lady, she barely has like 50 something followers, and she made this cool app, and it's in the App Store, and nobody knows about Mood Web, and now it's like the Omegle for emotion. So I thought that was a really cool idea. And the topic that I also kind of wanted to hop into today, I feel like, was like Cursor. So for those who don't know, the Cursor, the integrated developer environment, which I use heavily a lot to make Next.js code and TypeScript and stuff. I'm not a web developer, but I'm becoming one slowly because I'm using this framework. I'm just typing in commands and it just writes the code. Like I want to center this item and it does the centering and so forth. And it's pretty easy. It works really nice. And a lot of people are like, that are senior developers are starting to discover like, oh my gosh, this is taking my existing database code and writing features on top of it in minutes. Like I don't have to debug things for a long time. And you would feed in the build errors right into the Cursor, and it was like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to do that. And it would just go fix the errors wherever it's doing. It's like, hey, that's cool. I remember where I used to work at this fruit company back in the day. Like build errors would happen in projects or warnings that would just spew out, especially in the iOS ecosystem. And you can imagine they just keep spewing. And people are like, yeah, just don't worry about those. Those are just warnings. I was like, there's a reason why they're warning you. But yeah, like I think that it's like you just got too much stuff on your plate and you can't fix them. But systems like this can help you out. And to me, I have a little bit of a theory of what can go on. A lot of people like have maybe a more fearful take about AI and Cursor and like, will this actually take people's jobs? And my theory is actually it's going to create more jobs, but it's going to create more jobs in two different directions. So if you think about what is happening, there's this huge funnel of people who are now starting to come in and discovering that an 8-year-old can just talk to this system and it creates an app for whatever they want to do. And so you think about once those people come in, they're relying on all the existing code and existing paradigm and existing frameworks to be there so that I can deliver that type of experience for you. If we had AI and those frameworks weren't that well developed, I don't think we'd have these types of outcomes that we're seeing today. And so there's just been this like 30-year plus decades of like people have been coding and writing frameworks and making them the best they possibly can be. And there's a lot of really strict rules. And so the AI kind of acts like this translation layer between the two. And so in essence, you have a lot more demand, which is a lot of people coming in to use these systems. And then they're going to be using like the best frameworks to deliver what they need to deliver. So if you're a really good framework developer and you are really good at writing code, you can write even better code and just focus on that, because people will need to know, how do I get who has the best database, optimizer, who has the best thing for cloud, who has the best thing for on device, who has the best thing for X. And that's where these AI systems are going to go and look like, hey, everyone's using this framework, everyone's talking about it, or everyone's referencing them, so they're going to use your stuff. And so the winners are actually going to be the people who realize that AI is going to amplify like framework developers, and AI is going to amplify people who have ideas. And it's really just going to connect the two of them. And it's not going to take jobs. It's going to create jobs in those areas. And the people who are in between will either go in either direction. So it's sort of like a weird gateway drug problem where like you come in, you like the code, you actually do like it, after you start using it a while, and then you start to figure out, okay, I'm starting to, it's been really helpful because I've been learning web development and Next.js, and I'm trying to learn, as someone who has like development background, like how does this framework actually work? And like, what are they doing at each step of the way? So the AI is kind of getting me to the results, but then now I'm digging deeper to optimize, for performance and like really trying to understand what the code is doing. So I'm like really getting deeper into the framework, where other people don't want to know that. They just want to know, they just want an outcome. So they'll just do the things. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on where I think maybe things could be going. So I don't know, kind of what it is. Get your opinion and your take there. Cursor with Claude is dangerous. I guess it can be, yes. Yeah.
What does that mean?
I think dangerous in how much stuff you can accomplish, possibly, I think.
Oh, I see. In a positive way.
Yeah. So what do you think, Ronald? Do you think Cursor will take developers' jobs, or like, what's the AI coding thing?
Well, I think there are a couple of things, I think. So Cursor does turn like developers into like super or 10x engineers. That there's no doubt about that. So if I want to do something in JavaScript, and I haven't done that literally in I don't know how many years, I can get started right away with Cursor because it will help me in a way that no other platform will be able to do. So I think that's awesome. I think there is, however, I'm kind of having two different thoughts. So on one hand, yeah, I do see it will help developers. And I think we will see like a lot more software and solutions than we've ever had, because we've think of when we started with the App Store, right? The iOS App Store. There might have been like 5 games,
right.
and 5 tools or something on there, and now it's like probably millions of different apps.
True.
I think like the next few years we'll see like not a million, but like 1 billion apps or something like that. It sounds a little bit weird, but
That's
I
interesting.
expect like an explosion of number of apps. Not only like iOS apps, because I'm not sure how good Cursor is in Swift.
True.
But like all kind of web apps. I think that we will see like explosion of solutions and apps. That's something we've not seen before on this scale. On the other hand, I do think that there is a definitely like room for the LLM OS. I wrote a blog post about that over a year ago. How I kind of expected LLMs to be able to make just specialized apps for you as a consumer on the fly.
Interesting.
So, for example, if you are sent a Word document and you don't have Word or any other word processor on your computer,
Wow.
you could ask your LLM just hey, I have this document. I don't know what it is. I don't know format, but I want to read it.
Interesting.
And an LLM should be able to generate an application on the fly that reads the file, that figures out what kind of file it is, and how to present it on screen. That's not too far fetched, I think.
That's amazing.
That will happen. So
wow.
I've kind of two things. I think these things can happen at the same time. So I think we can both see a system where the developer is no longer needed for like the user can just interact directly with the LLM for a specific app for whatever use case.
I see.
And I think we will see like these millions, billions of apps and web apps. That are made in Cursor. I think that can happen both at the same time.
That's so. Is there any analogy to farming? Is it still like that, or is like something else? Because people talk a lot about like when people used to be on a farm, they used to use tools with like their hands, and then when a tractor came along, they're able to do more things with it.
Right.
And like there's still like, as a human being, you're either entrepreneurial or you're not. So if you're entrepreneurial and then you get yourself a tractor, you're like, I need 5 of these tractors. I'm going to go buy land. I'm going to try to get a loan. Like there's like those types of people that are just going from like farm to like wanting to, or lemonade stand to owning like lemonade shops type of thing. Some people just want that. That's all. Other people are just like, I just want to show up and get paid. They don't want to deal with the risk. Maybe there's kind of the same thing here, right? Like people are expecting, like the entrepreneurs who get access to this types of tooling, will explode in certain ways and create new things, right? And then people who are just wanting to dev and just want to just chill and not really take the risks can find their avenues to go be really good at what they do, right?
I think that's a good analogy. I mean, like the mechanization of farming has had like huge impacts. I mean, even like wars have been fought about that, right? I mean, the Second World War was partly because of the lack of resources, farming land they thought they needed in Central Europe, which eventually turned out to be not an issue because of mechanization and other ways to intensify farming. But yeah, definitely like I can see that. Yeah. Um,
I like this
but
concept of the LLM OS you talked about because that's really interesting.
yeah,
I
yeah,
forget that if you have an operating system that is smart enough to run and then can make decisions, for example, receiving a Word document, it's like, what the hell is Word? And it could just generate something that's generic to read it, using existing frameworks or something like that,
yeah.
or generate the code on the fly. You know, is it going to be good enough for you? And does that, work for you? Type of things. It's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And so that's an interesting paradigm, in a lot of different ways. And there's obviously like a lot of steps that need to happen before that kind of gets there, but you can totally see that future, right? It's like,
Yeah, I mean, you see, like a little bit like in Claude artifacts.
oh, that's a good point.
You see it already happening, right? I
Yeah.
mean, what's his name? The person who created on OpenAI Nick. I forgot his name. He had this tool as well on OpenAI where you will be able to create and run your own applications, basically. So you see the first things. I mean, we saw like the guys from, what was it, CM2B or something like that. That had like an open source version of Claude artifacts, CMB.
Oh,
I
right.
don't know what they were called again. We saw them at the AI Engineer World Fair a few months ago.
Oh, yes.
So things are happening on that front, and again, we're super early, right? I mean, like 2 years ago, LMs were at the very beginning of what they could. Now, if you look like Claude, what it can do is it's mind blowing.
Yes.
What it will be able to do in 1 or 2 years.
Wow.
I can't even like imagine what it will be able to do. So these tools will get better. And again, these LLMs we have right now are general purpose, right? What if we would have an LLM that would be focused on creating these kind of OS apps from scratch?
Gosh, that's such a good idea.
What?
No,
Yeah,
it's really good because when you wrote this blog post almost 2 years ago, right? A year and a half ago, maybe?
yeah. No, more than 2 years ago, like May 23. Yeah.
Yeah. So at that point,
Sorry, that's 2 years ago. That's 1 year ago. Sorry.
yeah, almost like, sorry, 1 month in AI is a year, like almost 7 years. Sorry. Yeah, it feels that way. It's really crazy. But artifacts wasn't even a topic, no one's mind. People were just barely doing some basic coding task with GPT-4, but people were trying to figure out how can we extend that. So the birth of agents kind of really came into play with Microsoft, and then the following frameworks that kind of followed on after that were like, hey, since this system's so smart, if you can chain multiple like tasks together and then do them back to back, all these papers were proving that the system appears smarter and does behave like almost feel like sentient, but it can achieve more than just giving it one prompt. And so then like that kind of started to take off as a vertical. And now that we're having even more powerful models and then these other toolings that get added on top of it, like the artifacts is kind of that first implementation of like that LLM OS that you talked about, of it just kind of generating those types of artifacts that kind of show you on the screen, like, hey, here's some code, or here's something I'm doing that's really productive. And it just doesn't quit. It just does it all. It just keeps going over and over. And imagine that at the operating system level. Imagine that at all these different levels of where AI can live.
That's awesome. I mean, I actually experimented with it in my own app, Pico. So that had like from the first version a JavaScript runtime, where you can basically like run the JavaScript applications that the LLM would produce. The current version, oh, there it is. That's beautiful. This is your work. This is so awesome. Thank you so much for that.
I'm using Claude
I never had a landing page.
Yeah. So like for those who don't know, Pico Pro is an app in the App Store, and I'm literally using I'm literally using Cursor and Claude to make this whole like landing page. And I was like, this is really going to be a really fun exercise to use AI to actually make a landing page for my friend who doesn't have you're an app developer and you're like, I don't do web and I'm not going to touch that stuff with a 10-foot pole. I'm just going to keep improving my app. And it's like, dude, we need to get you into like 2024, bro. Like Or if an 8-year-old can make an app or make a thing to talk to Harry Potter, I could probably talk to something to make a landing page for you. So,
Yeah, I super appreciate that. That's really, and thank you so much for that. But yeah, that one had a way to execute JavaScript right away within the application, which worked really well. Again, it's temporary. I switched it off because I changed the way Markdown is handled.
I see here. Yes.
But yeah, you were able to, and now I'll probably add it back and some new features very soon. But yeah, that was kind of an interesting experiment, and it showed that for simple JavaScript applications, even GPT 3.5 or not even or 3. I don't even know.
3.5, yeah, probably, huh?
Yeah, or not even 3.5, but it's 3.0 or some whatever they had before that. Worked well enough to actually build simple JavaScript applications and run it within like Pico.
Wow.
So yeah, that worked. That worked very well. So yeah, I mean, again, what will happen if, for example, Apple trains a new model based on their own source code, their own closed source code? I mean, from the OS, from to all their iCloud and iWork applications, iPhoto. What if they would train in an LLM on that source code?
That'd be too dangerous to release because I would know.
I mean, that would be like the ultimate like way to create an app for your OS. Right? I mean, that would be
that'd be great.
The ultimate LLM OS, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that LLM would know exactly how to create like a Mac or iOS app from scratch natively, and yeah, I mean that would be awesome.
So I wanted to kind of get a little bit more technical in this discussion because we're talking about there's like a high level like programming language, which is what Andre Carpathy and other people have been saying, like English is the new programming language. It's just they're talking about that first layer. I was talking about people coming into AI and then asking it to produce code. That's like the English as a programming level is going to get you so far. As you keep going down into the stack, you know, you have the language model that talks to the code and to generate the code. So whatever the coding language the AI model is choosing is only going to get you that far too, right? So if you choose to write in Python, you're only going to get so far. If you make a web app, it's only going to get you so far. You know, it's only going there's like, it does great for certain things, and you know, the LLMs can help sort of guide you in that. And so I was thinking about why did people like Chris Latner, who we interviewed at the AI engineering conference, you'd asked them this interesting question about like, how did it start? Like what actually went down? And the surprising note was that he like was basically part of this bureaucracy where he pitched it to his manager and they're just like, no, bro, like you got to chill. That's too much. We can't be doing that around here. You got to get your job done. You're here to do your job. It's like, all right, but I really want to do this. It's like tell me next year or something when we're not so busy with our features. And then like he came back, it's like, hey, if I, like he just thought about it kind of in a meta style. It was like, if I make something that improves like, you know, Objective-C and C like runtime, like I still need this for making my Swift, you know, like a programming language. So I'm just going to put this work on this anyways. And it helps everyone win. But this is actually the kind of the gateway drug that's going to help me land my project in the future. You know, so you kind of had to like be clever about it. So in the same way, is kind of why that chain thought was making me think a little bit deeper into the stack. It's like, hey, framework developers, people who work at that low level, know the intricacies of like where the metal meets the, you know, the software basically. And so if you can talk to that level and like make optimizations, so many people win. And so in this type of exploration, it made me really think about, you know, this type of stack and like going deeper and saying, well, do you really have to now invent a new programming language? Do you just need to only optimize or make holes into your new framework that you like and just extend them out so that they go deeper one level to do that one extra optimization you really need, maybe to unlock your app? So an example I'm thinking about, you know, it's like with Python, it's like a single thread. It's going to run in your system. It's going to do its thing. And if you do need like multi-threaded things or like whatever you need to do, like can't you just write like something that's in C or at a lower level to actually like kick off and do some type of system, or write that as like a plugin that kind of connects into your ecosystem so that when a user is saying, hey, I want this experience to be faster, I hate the 300 millisecond delay when I swipe to do a button, they may not realize it, but that's not what they're saying. The LLM interprets it like, hey, yeah, there's too much delay between these types of stacks. We need to build something that's closer to the metal, or we need to tap into a metal API on this Mac to do this type of thing. Like that the LLM is going to figure out how to go, punch into a system to write that so that it includes it into the app, either as an import or as a plugin or something. I'm thinking that like at the lowest levels, if someone who's a framework writer can see this patterns happening repeatedly, they would probably write something for it, because not only does it unlock stuff for that one user, but many other people who have this speed problem or this user experience problem. So I feel like there needs to be this feedback loop that's going to come back into like an LLM, but like maybe even open source or something that just needs to be there that isn't really there yet, right? Because there's all these actions that are going to be happening. And what better than an AI system to kind of try to read them and say, oh, there's a lot of people complaining about this, or this experience can be made better. Let me just, like it could just literally be its own bot that just creates GitHub repos and like starts to, it's literally AGI, right? It's like creates its repos. We're fixing these things that are going to improve these experiences because we keep seeing them over and over again in some feedback loop somewhere. Like, right, that doesn't exist today, but I feel like that has to exist in order for these types of systems to feel like even better. So that people who are like coming in at the top using English as a programming language can say, hey, can you make this faster? Or how do we make this better? That like it'll know what to do based off the data, not based off of like vibes. But actually hardcore data, it's like, so I don't know. That's just kind of my thinking, kind of going down this stack that I'm kind of realizing, it's like English as a programming language to the AI model, to like the actual framework, to like what's touching on the metal and where is it living and what's executing, code wise for an app experience to do what it does. I don't know, like this is shower thoughts, but I thought I would just share here first, because it's just something, a problem that I've been thinking about a lot. And it's a little bit, I don't know, esoteric, but I feel like we have to talk about it because we love AI, we love computers, and love talking about these things.
Yeah, I think another example, like how AI will influence like the way we work, or the way how companies work. In this case, enterprise. And we're just so early with everything. And it's easy to forget since we talk every week about this. But the places where AI is used right now, even like in tech companies, is just maybe the top of the iceberg. And there's so much to use AI and to benefit from AI that hasn't been even like implemented or even thought of. There's so much to do.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's interesting. So yeah, you've been chipping away at your project, right? The Pico LLM, the Pico assistant and stuff, and it's basically, you've basically re-released it after running into a hiccup from a long time ago. I remember we met originally about this place. Do a space, and I want to ask some questions. Andres, like an X space. I'm gonna do that maybe.
This tweet, or we can do a space and video, right? We cannot do that, or can we?
I'm trying to. I did that once with an AI show with Thursday Eye, and so what I was able to do was connect my phone and like mirror it to the display, and maybe I might do that for the next show, because that could just literally be like people calling in, and so I can put you onto the space. It's like a phone call, right? Like for a radio show. Right. I'm gonna, Andres, thank you. I'm going to try to see if I could set that up for next week on Friday for our show. And
this would be like a standard feature of the streaming software, right?
Yeah. Well, because I can connect the phone, I can like have it focus onto a screen. So that'd be really cool, because I'd love for people to, because this is like totally space. For those who aren't familiar, on X, you can have this thing called Spaces. And there used to be an app called Clubhouse, which basically all it was is just like you're scrolling through different audio radio stations or spaces in essence. You click them and then you join in and start to have a conversation. And so the stage will only have so many slots available so that people can come onto the stage and speak and like talk back and forth and share those opinions. And so today is, especially with a controversial topic like we're talking about with Cursor taking developers' jobs, or not really, it's a very different take. And I feel like I want different colors of opinions here. I want to hear other people talk about things, not only just me, because it's pretty boring when I just talk. No, but I feel like we all have different experiences and have different, levels of things that we do things on. So that would definitely make it really, really cool. I definitely appreciate the feedback. That's really cool that typing on here.
Meanwhile, people can just ask questions in the replies, right? Because we do see them in the app even.
Yes, yeah. So what do you think about Replit? So I know that I love using Replit actually. Replit is a really great starting point for getting started with apps, but even if you're an advanced app developer, what I love about it, especially for Python development, is the fact that you can deploy your app instantly. So I'm working on an app that is doing stuff with Whisper and the API. And when I'm done, I want to tell people to use the app. So instead of telling them, oh yeah, hey Ronald, go download my repo, go git clone it, and then run these conda install commands and break your Mac. And make sure you activate the conda environment. And once you do that, then run this command, streamlit run, name of my app.py. And then it's going to pop you into a server. Make sure you type in localhost :3. It's like too many steps. It's like, bro, no, chill.
Yeah. And it never works. I mean, that's the thing with Python.
Yes.
And again, I said it before, and it might be like a very unpopular opinion, but it is too much work. Every time I see, just do pip install, and I don't know, you run into things like wrong versions of Python, and yeah, sure, Conda makes it a little bit easier, but it's
a nightmare.
So messy.
Yeah, PC, M1 Mac. I mean, I literally had an issue where I installed the wrong version of Conda because I had the PC version and not. And you know why I installed the wrong version? Because I told the LLM to install it over command line. I just said, hey, can you install? And it ran the commands and installed it. It didn't realize that I had a M1 Mac. It just installed the Intel version. And that borked my machine.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. And so luckily I know how to use the terminal and go through and I worked on file systems and the operating system stuff at Apple. So I know deeply, intimately where all these things are, where to find them. And so I literally went in surgically by hand and removed stuff. It was a pain in the ass. Then I fixed it. But if you don't know, you're host. People have returned their computers because of a bad pip install or a bad conda install, and I could see why.
Is that true?
Yes, yeah. And Matt Berman had bought a new Mac, and he messed up his installation, and he just did not know what to do, and he returned it to the Apple Store and got a new Mac. He's a YouTuber, has 500,000 followers. Yeah, I'm like,
I feel bad when I struggle with Python, but I never had it that bad. I never returned my computer because
install an Intel version for some framework like Python, on your M1 on my M Mac machine, and that'll mess you up for days. Yeah. You would not even realize. Yeah, the symlinks it creates in different places that it's not supposed to be in, and it's a hot mess. But yeah, so Replit, which is nice, it's a hosted version. So basically what they're doing, technical, let's get a little technical here, is that you just go to the web and your coding environment is literally on the website. You're like, how do they do that? What they're doing is they basically have a Docker container that runs the code. And whenever you create a new project, they just do a symlink across to a container that has all the different dependencies you need, which is genius. It's oh, cool. So it doesn't really take up extra server space. And so what's the brilliant part about this now, because it's already running in a Docker container, your code, whenever you install something, it has everything all ready to go. When you hit deploy, it's already running in the container. It's already containerized. So you don't have to specify all the stuff. If your app already runs in the browser, it's going to run, as a web app. They just do the backend to assign the URL, and you can give your friend the website. Hey, go hit my Whisper API. Now you can transcribe your videos. Oh, now you can get timestamps, Now you can do all this cool stuff. And so now you can actually just hand your apps off. You can share it. You can then also work with collaborators. So you can have two people working on the same project at the same time. Though they have this new thing where they can stream in together and you can see the code typing in real time. And then they've added AI to it. So now they've actually just enabled Claude. So you can use Claude Sonnet 3.5. And so you have cursor-like experience, but with Claude now. And then you can also deploy your app. So actually, I have a version called the LLM Calculator, where it's literally just the Streamlit app. See LLM. I'm going to see if I could show you real quick on my thing. So it's llm-calc.rayfernando.ai. And this is literally running from Streamlit because I didn't want to have people install like all these dependencies, but you can figure out how much RAM you need. And this is literally running from a Streamlit app. So you can say, okay, I want to run the 4-bit model. I have 64 gigs of RAM. I hit enter. And then this will tell me, okay, I can run a model that has 121 billion parameters if it's quantized to 4-bit. Cool. That's awesome. If I'm going to buy a RAM that has 192 gigabytes, like the M2 Ultra, I can run a model that has 377 billion parameters, like with the 2000 token context window. So like that's literally running from Replit. Like this is running on a Replit. Like this is really crazy that this is like a full-fledged app. And I didn't really have to code it. I just talked to the AI system. It's like, cool. It just made this stuff for me. It's like, okay, now I want this. Add this in. Add a drop down for this. Like, it's so fast. It's so ridiculous. And I actually open source this too.
Orange says it is super useful. This is really. I mean, I've been using this because it's often so hard to know which model works or doesn't work on your computer because it's too large. Because I mean, it's so messy.
Yeah,
And
I got to promote my apps
like
more.
A better way built in Hugging Face.
Yes. Oh my. Actually,
way, I mean,
I need to go talk to them about this.
But there isn't. But yeah, so until like Hugging Face fixes that.
Yes.
This is like a super useful tool. And maybe we should mention the URL again for people.
Yeah. So for people who aren't familiar, this is basically llm-calc.rayfernando.ai. And so I'm planning to revamp my website so I can show you the different tools I have. I'm now going into this phase where because of AI, I'm just building tools left and right. So I need to just have a landing page that just has all of my tools. Especially because I talk about them on the stream and stuff. But yes, for those who are building with LLMs, definitely this would be super handy for you. Because actually this came out of our conversation, Ronald, because you were having this problem too. You were saying, how the F do I figure out what thing to run? And I was like, let me make a calculator for you, bro. Because I literally did the same calculation. And we're both debating about buying Macs and kind of holding off. And this was actually sort of inspired by Yassine. So on X, I was following, I think there was this post, which was pretty epic that Ronald retweeted.
Is there a new MLX version? I just saw I
didn't know. Probably.
The MLX guy pop up.
So this post kind of inspired it all, actually. Let me move this up aside real quick. And so, whoops. Okay, here we go. So this was like the conversation starter for us. So Ronald's a good friend of mine. And so we go back and forth and share posts and stuff. So he's like, hey, check this out. I was like, oh, yo, that'd be so cool if you could do this. And I think you either opened a pull request or somebody opened a pull request for this.
I opened a pull request, yes. And I was like planning to code part of it myself, but Apple was too fast.
Shout out to Ani, yes, and MLX crew.
The MLX team at Apple is so fast.
They're so good. Yes.
They create a pull request within I think 2 weeks or something, and it's running now. So it's crazy. Yeah.
So that was in reply to a post from Yassine, and that was from April 2000 April of this year.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening, because one of the things that became popular was the huge language model from Llama. And so once you start to realize that you can't run a model that's bigger on my Mac at 64 gigabytes of RAM, the biggest one I could run is 121 billion parameters with 4-bit quantization. And so with the 4-bit quantization, it's extremely low precision, as I put some of the explanation here. Ideally, if you can run 32-bit, you're pretty much king. So check this out. If we do 32-bit, like straight up full on, just like unquantized, the biggest model I could run with 64 gigs of RAM is about 15 billion parameters. So like that's kind of it. And you're barely kind of chugging by. So That's the reality. So you have to quantize them to at least fit a lot more in, because every time you bring it down, you kind of add almost double or so. So like it's like an interesting thing, and so we knew that the future was that Llama was going to release the rumored 405 billion parameter model, or 400 billion plus parameters in the future. But in order to do that, you need to connect multiple Macs. And so a little bit of cool history here is that they did eventually release it, and so AC Crypto. RYPTO, we'll say Exo Labs.
On the show.
Yes. So Exo Labs, which is basically Alex Chima, was able to, as soon as the model came out, connect the two MacBooks together and actually run inference on the large model. So each Mac has 128 gigabytes of RAM. And so he was able to make the model so that it's sharded out and can run inference on it. So the dream here is literally the fact that you can show up to a cafe with your friend and run one of these giant language models without having to have the dependency on these like big providers like OpenAI and so forth. And so the dream has always been to run a GPT-4 on your actual laptop. And we have basically have come close or really close and are here. And people are working really hard to do these types of things. And so this was just really cool to, like literally he was working on this project up the street from my house. I was able to download the weights and bring them over to his house. And from there, we were able to get the inference working on his MacBook. So like he quantized it and then used the Apple MLX framework to kind of tie these two together. And because of Apple's MLX work to basically implement that pull request, and his work that he was already doing with Exo Labs, Alex Chima was able to kind of make this feature happen that is literally probably like the most historic event that I think has ever happened, here this year in July. The fact that we have these large language models released, and then the same day, two MacBooks can come together and actually do this stuff. I think that's just probably the biggest step for like humans as a whole. That you don't have to be dependent on these types of things. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. That was probably one of the coolest things. And just so for those like we're referencing, like this calculator in essence is a way to figure out, okay, how much, like if I have 128 gigs, how much do I need? Or like if I have like 500 or 512 gigs of RAM, in my pool, like how much, how big of a model can we run at like 4-bit or even 8-bit quantization? So yeah, if you have like 512 gigs of RAM, 8-bit, you're running this token window, you're going to have like 500 billion parameter model. You can probably run. I mean, this is just real ballpark figures. And I open sourced it so that people can also check the math behind it, because I feel like anyone who knows how to do the maths with that stuff and is smarter than me can help contribute it and make this better for everyone. So this is open source. You can check it out. LLM Calculator, rayfernando.ai.
Sorry, go ahead with the
oh, no, go ahead.
URL. Sorry,
yeah. No, it's just right here. Yeah.
So now I just wanted to say that I saw this rumor or Mac rumors that the new Mac Mini will be almost as small as an Apple TV.
Yo, I want this.
So that's about the upcoming. There it is.
Ooh.
The upcoming M4 Mac Mini.
Ooh.
And the rumors are that will be tiny, like a small box. You can easily like put a few in a backpack easily.
That's a good idea.
And if you can, I think right now the maximum memory you can use on like the M3s or wherever we were is like 192 gigabytes. If they increase that, there's something about gigabytes. No, it doesn't. If they increase the memory of these machines to 225, 256 or 512 or something, I mean, that would be like the ultimate inference machines. This would be like so amazing if we just buy two, use Exo Labs, run. I mean, it would be so insane.
That would be
like this would see like a huge boost in local inference. The Llama models, but also like distributed inference with Exo Labs or whatever you use.
Wow.
This is going to be insane if they and it's supposedly they're going to launch in October. So That's only 2 months from
Get
now,
your
right?
get your wallets ready, folks. This is about to be an expensive
Yeah.
Techtober. Yeah, I already have.
October is going to be an expensive month.
Yeah, I just opened up a business credit card, so I got infinite limit. Let's go.
Okay, good. Let's buy a few.
I'm gonna buy 10 of them. That's just, I'm GPU poor, but Apple rich, right? You could say like that's kind of my
Yes.
saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for inference, I think this is way better than what you can do with NVIDIA. Maybe
Mm,
not in terms of speed, but like the memory is so important,
mhm.
and it's
Yeah,
you can easily have like 5 or 10 Mac Minis on your desk, but you probably don't want to have like a machine with like 5 or 10 NVIDIA cards underneath your desk, because
that's
that
right.
probably will make a lot more noise than
Not only
and
noise, but
like way
power.
more power.
So people
Yeah,
have
yeah.
been complaining about like having to fix their power situation at the house because they have to like
Oh, is that
install
so?
higher amperage. Yeah.
Oh
Like
shit.
yeah, it's so serious. They've been having to like change their whole power situation because they're running like more than two, like they're running huge amounts of systems. And so like I'm pretty sure the FBI is like, yo, these guys are growing some weed in there because they're just using too much power.
Yeah.
No, but I mean that's
Well, you
what's
better
nice
have
about the
solar.
Macs.
You better have solar if you have these kind of machines, the NVIDIA machines. I mean, seriously. Yeah.
These growing machines. I mean, Nvidia machines. Yeah. So like the people who are like hooking up their Macs, you have way more power and efficiency. You literally just plug it in. It's like, yeah, that's chill. Or like a laptop, it's on battery. Come on, like that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool. So yeah, I'm huge. It's going to be a really expensive year, and yeah, I might just do some unboxing streams because I like to kind of do that too. When like I get my new Mac, and we're just gonna smell the packaging and everything, and
Oh
do,
yeah. Yeah.
do that fancy stuff. So if you haven't subscribed, definitely do that. Ray Fernando, 1337, Ronald Mannak there down below. We do a show here like every week on Friday, right about noonish or so. And so we like to talk about tech, a little bit talk about AI, talk about kind of what we're building and what's going on and things that are happening in the news, and just kind of keeping you informed about what's out there, and also appreciate your participation. And we're going to step it up to the next level so that we can see if we can do some type of space. So like the spaces thing is probably going to be something to try where I can set up the phone, thanks to Andres, and see if we can mirror it onto the display. And that way, like if you're on X, you can hop on and like we'll like bring you on and we can have a conversation together. Because I feel like this type of stuff is really cool when more people participate, especially when we have a cool topic to talk about. So yeah, my name is Ray Fernando. A little bit of background. I used to work at Apple for 12 years, and now I'm kind of on my own, working as a developer, independent here, and trying to release as many apps as possible using AI phase, and making this live stream to kind of help connect with you and teach you things as I go, and sharing my knowledge as well. And we have Ronald here. I'll let you introduce yourself before we leave. Yes.
Sure. Yeah. My name is Ronald. I'm the developer of Pico. That's an LLM frontend in the App Store, iOS and Mac, which allows you to use Grok, OpenAI, and next week we'll have also Claude on that as well.
Ooh, Claude. I love building with
Yeah.
Claude. Cool. Yes. So tune into us. We'll be available. And if you have any questions, feel free to send us a DM. We're easily accessible. And I'll catch y'all next week. Take it easy. Bye, everyone.